How's it going, guys? Luis here, and we're only just over a week away from Final Fantasy 15 being released worldwide. But Square Enix just released a new demo for the game that's essentially the introduction and the first chapter of the game. You might have not known of this because the demo is out only in Japan for the PS4 and the Xbox One. However, if you want to get your hands on it right now and you're outside of Japan, all you need to do is sign up for a Japanese Xbox Live or PSN account, which is all free. I'll have a guide to doing that in the description below underneath that like button. Now, I've been playing the Final Fantasy 15 Judgement demo for a few days now, and I wanted to share my first impressions of it for anyone interested in the final game. Now, keep in mind, this is a demo, but it does feature content from the final version of the game. With that said, the director of Final Fantasy 15 has stated that they're working on a patch that should fix any of the glitches that people have found with this demo. When you start playing the demo, you get the introduction to the game that flashes forward with a few pretty big spoilers. Afterward, the king sets Noctis and his friends on a journey to go marry Luna. But the journey is put to a halt quickly when Noctis' car breaks down and Florence of the Machine plays in the background singing Stand By Me. Welcome to Final Fantasy 15. After pushing the broken car down to the repair shop, you meet the mechanic Sydney and a few other supporting characters you may have seen in other Final Fantasy 15 trailers already. There's a little weapon shop, or rather a weapon van near the mechanic, but as your luck has it, you're broke. Pretty weird for a prince, right? Luckily, Sydney hires you for a mission of ridding the land of monsters in exchange for some cash, and she gives you 1,000 gil as a head start. You can use this extra cash to go buy some food from the local restaurant, or buy weapons for your team. After hunting down the monsters and returning back to Sydney, she'll tell you that one of the hunters have gone missing, and so you go check the barn to see if they're there. Surprisingly, you actually went to the wrong bar and are ambushed by some monsters. After defeating them, you go to the other barn and find the missing hunter, who tells you that they were attacked by what turns out to be your future tutorial boss. Now, that's as far as I'll go with the story details, just because this is the actual game and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that doesn't want it spoiled. This demo in particular was forced into the standard battle easy mode, most likely to let newcomers to the series get a better grasp of how the controls work without getting frustrated. Basically, you don't get all the cool weapons you would ultimately get in the full game, and all the enemies are pretty easy. Noctis can switch between 4 different weapons with the push of the D-pad, and you can switch out those equipment slots during the mid-battle as well. Pressing the attack button attacks the nearest enemy, but you can also press the shoulder button to lock onto enemies. This will actually make Noctis run towards the enemy when you press the square button, even if they're farther away. There's a dodge button that has you defend against enemy attacks, but this also charges down your MP. When your MP reaches 0 and you try to use some of it, you'll actually be punished with a little stun delay. Sometimes during a battle, you'll get the command prompt to hold down a certain button in order to counter. In these situations, you can block an attack and counter back with your own attack without the cost of any MP. There's also a warp strike button that also uses your MP. This lets you warp towards an enemy and attack them at the same time. It can also be used to lock onto enemies or even run away quickly. On the left side of the screen are little gauges for your partners. This is the ATB bar, and these fill up as you fight. When the gauge is full on a certain member, you can sort of perform a combo of sorts by linking together your attacks. If you need to, you can also heal your partners or yourself by using the potions in your inventory system. Aside from the equipment you can use, you also have the ability to do a magic attack in the demo, specifically fire. Magic in Final Fantasy 15 acts almost like a grenade. It's equipable like any other melee weapon, and casting a fire spell throws a flame at an enemy that not only can hurt them, but your party members too. There's even environmental effects that you can use to your advantage with spells. For example, if you shoot a piece of fire into some grassland, you might start a forest fire that can hurt your enemy, but can also hurt you too. Now, besides the game's main story, there are a few side quests you can do that are mostly just focused on fetch quests, hunting down creatures for people that only appear during certain times of the day. Completing missions and quests earns you XP that you can actually use to level up, but you don't actually level up until you redeem the XP. And you can redeem XP by resting. This can either be at a campsite or at a hotel inn. Now, I went on Twitter and Facebook and Discord earlier today, and I asked some of you guys what you guys wanted to know about this game that I could answer from playing this demo. And here's what you guys had to ask. How does the game run on PS4 versus PS4 Pro? Well, if you have a PS4 Pro, the game does take advantage of the new hardware. If you play on a 4K TV, the resolution does go up above 1080p, but it's definitely not native 4K. I would say somewhere close to 1440p. The sharpness and resolution definitely is noticeable though, and the game runs at 30 frames per second. If you play on a 1080p TV, things do look less sharper and it's still locked at 30 frames per second, but the quality and textures, and especially in the characters' hair animations, look way better. If you play this on a regular PS4, the game runs at a targeted 30 frames per second with dynamic resolution ranging from 900 to 1080p. It should be mentioned that Square Enix has come out and stated that they're working on a better PS4 Pro patch. The 4K mode will look slightly better with this new patch, and the 1080p mode will target 60 frames per second after the patch is installed. Was Conan right about the game? I'll just say that Conan's show is called Clueless Gamer for a reason. Is Prompto best boy? Fuck yeah he is, go watch the Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood episode if you don't think so. Would this be a good place to start playing the series? Yeah, Final Fantasy 15 is a standalone game not connected to any of the other Final Fantasy 15 games, and it's actually different from the other games in the fact that it uses an action RPG battle system rather than a turn-based one. I will say this though, if you do want to get into Final Fantasy 15, I'd suggest going to check out the 5-episode free Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood anime. You can find it here on YouTube from the Square Enix channel, and possibly the Final Fantasy 15 Kingslave movie. That'll give you a better context of the backstory of the characters and what the whole overall story is too. So far, I'm really enjoying my time with Final Fantasy 15, and I'm only more excited to get my hands on the full version of the game later this month. The only real problem with this game demo is the fact that some people are running into graphical errors here and there, but luckily they've been reported and Square Enix has said they're working on a fix for them for the final version of the game. Now be sure to turn on notifications on your subscription so you don't miss out the final review of Final Fantasy 15 later this month. Now while you wait for my next video, you can go ahead and drop me a follow on Twitter and subscribe if you haven't already. I also put up a review of Pokemon Sun and Moon and my first impressions of Persona 5 after buying the Japanese version of the game. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.